Bagman and Harvey, Ashes and Echoes. Chapter 1. The Paper Mask. The rain came in crooked lines, slanting through the halo of a flickering street lamp. A man in a tattered trench coat stood beneath it, one hand on the soggy paper bag covering his face. The bag was stained around the eye holes, where he'd wiped his forehead again and again over the years. Somewhere in the darkness, a soft voice purred. "Long night, huh?" Harvey asked. Bagman didn't answer. He was watching the end of the street, where a warehouse door hung open, swinging in the wind like a broken jaw. The smell drifting out made his chest tighten. Burned wood, something familiar and bitter he couldn't quite name. He thought about turning away, but Harvey's voice coaxed him forward. "Just a peek," the cat urged gently. "Might be something worth doing in there." "I'm tired," Bagman said. His voice was hoarse, as if it hadn't been used in weeks. "You always are," Harvey replied. "But you still get up. You always get up." Bagman sighed. He stepped out of the street lamp circle and into the dark. Chapter 2. The Warehouse. Inside, 3 men were arguing over crates they'd cracked open. In the half-light, Bagman saw pistols glint in trembling hands. He wasn't sure why he was there, only that Harvey had said, "Let's see what they're up to." Bagman padded closer. One of the men glanced up, startled. "Hey, who the hell are you talking to?" he barked. Bagman didn't look at him. He reached out, feeling Harvey press against his leg in reassurance, and in the next heartbeat the room erupted. A shot tore past his ear as he lunged forward. "Easy," Harvey murmured, weaving between the men's feet. "You don't have to kill them. Not unless you want to." "I don't want to," Bagman said, breathless, as he slammed one man into the wall. "But sometimes, it just happens." When the shouting stopped, Bagman was the only one standing. He crouched beside one of the crates, medical supplies, and wondered vaguely if he'd done something useful. He didn't think of himself as a hero, just a man and his cat, out for another strange night. Chapter 3. Under the Bridge. By morning, he was back beneath the bridge. The highway above groaned with traffic he couldn't see. He laid out scraps of newspaper, some with his picture on them, though he didn't recognize himself, and Harvey hopped up to curl on his lap. "Bit of a mess in there," Harvey said, licking a paw that gleamed wet with rainwater. "Didn't mean to make a mess," Bagman mumbled. "You never mean it," Harvey replied. "But sometimes it's necessary." Bagman didn't notice the old woman passing on the sidewalk, how she slowed to stare at him, petting thin air. She crossed herself before she hurried on. Bagman felt nothing but the phantom vibration of purring as he closed his eyes. "Harvey, do you think we're doing any good?" he whispered. "I think you're doing what you can," Harvey said, voice soft. "That's enough." Bagman nodded and fell asleep as the traffic thrummed above them like a distant heartbeat. Chapter 4. The Alley. It was afternoon when Harvey led him to the alley behind a liquor store. A man was pushing a girl against a dumpster, his hands locked around her throat. "Time to step in," Harvey whispered. Bagman didn't hesitate. He moved like water, like memory, and in seconds the man was gasping in the gutter. The girl bolted, her terrified gaze sliding past him to the space where Harvey sat watching. Who are you talking to?" she stammered. Bagman didn't answer. He simply crouched to check the man's pulse, then stood, rain dripping from his coat, already somewhere else in his thoughts. Harvey hopped down from the dumpster. "You never hear them," he said, sounding almost sad. Bagman said nothing. He looked up at the gray sky and started walking again. Chapter 5. Embers. That night, he dreamed of fire. Flames crawling up pale walls. A woman screaming his name. "Not Bagman," she screamed. "Harvey." He woke before dawn, the bridge cold and empty. Harvey was there, tail flicking in the dark. "You're remembering," the cat said quietly. "Remembering what?" Bagman asked. but the word tasted wrong in his mouth. Harvey stepped closer, meeting his gaze with unblinking green eyes. "You used to have a life. A good one." "I don't want it," Bagman whispered. "I just want this." Harvey said nothing. Instead, he turned and began walking down the embankment. Bagman followed because he always did. Chapter 6. Reckoning. They found them in a boarded-up house, 3 men around a cracked formica table, playing cards over a revolver. Bagman didn't remember their faces, but something in his chest clenched as he watched them. "Ready?" Harvey murmured. Bagman nodded. The next moments passed in a blur. When it was done, the room smelled of blood and cordite, and Bagman was the only one left alive. In the silence, he felt something shift inside him, like a door opening. He looked around and finally saw it all for what it was: the house, the fire, the screaming, his wife, his child, his name. Harvey sat on the table, tail curling around his paws. "It's time," he said. Bagman sank to his knees, tears soaking the inside of the paper bag. In the dawn light leaking through the broken windows, he reached up and pulled it free. Chapter 7. Farewell. Bagman knelt in the wreckage. His hands trembled as he set the bag gently on the table beside the revolver. "I remember now," he said. His voice cracked. "I'm Harvey Bagman." Harvey watched him in silence. The cat's shape flickered at the edges, dimming like an ember dying out. He stood slowly, feeling the morning breeze on his face for the first time in years. He didn't say goodbye. He simply turned and stepped through the doorway into the soft light. The street was empty. He walked until the houses turned to storefronts, until the storefronts gave way to alleys where the city never really slept. A few people watched him pass, some curious, some wary. By the time the sun had climbed above the rooftops, he found himself near a row of dumpsters behind a convenience store. A quiet sound stopped him, small, unsure. A kitten, black with a white chest, peered out from behind a trash can. Its eyes were too bright for the gloom, almost familiar. He crouched and held out a hand. The kitten bounded into his palm without fear. For a moment, as he lifted it, it felt like the old dream again, like Harvey waiting for him in the dark. As he stood with the kitten cradled to his chest, he realized he didn't feel quite so alone. In the hush of the alley, it was impossible to say who was saving whom. Maybe, he thought, they were saving each other.